This is Sheffield Live 93.2 FM, and you're listening to Communities Live with
Susie Casson.
And with me, Andrew Tildersley. And joining us in the studio is Kristina Diprose.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Hi, Christine. Thanks for coming in. So you're involved in a project called Intersection.
Yes, that's right.
Can you tell us a bit about it?
Sure. So Intersection is an arts and social research project based at the University of Sheffield, and we're exploring the idea of a society for all ages, and we're interested in hearing from people in Sheffield, and particularly looking at ideas around consumer habits, views on the environment and on fairness between people of different generations.
Great, sounds interesting. So how did you become involved in the project?
I started working on the project last August, but before that I had mostly worked and done research with children and young people. So what I really like about this project is that it brings the voices of people of all different generations together.
Great. So how many researchers are involved in the project?
There are 8 researchers on our team altogether, half at Sheffield and half at Leeds. We are a cross-national research project, so while I do the research here in Sheffield, I've got colleagues working in cities in China and Uganda, Nanjing and Jinja, and so they're looking at what a society for all ages means for people living there as well. And we have academics from a range of backgrounds, so social geography, anthropology, East Asian studies and even theatre, so we're quite a diverse bunch.
Wow, so how do you keep in touch with everyone?
How do we keep in touch? A mixture of email, sometimes kind of visits, exchanges. So myself and 2 other colleagues had the opportunity to go and see Canny, who's working in Nanjing, when they were setting intergenerational theatre workshops up there. But a lot of it is just things like Skype meetings, emails. Online communication is a wonderful thing.
Yeah, great. So intergenerational means sort of grandparents, parents, children.
Yes, well, I mean, intergenerational can mean the different generations alive today, so thinking about younger and older and middle generations, and that's definitely part of what we're looking at. But we're also interested in that longer view of intergenerational fairness, if you like, so thinking about past generations and future generations, and especially the idea of if we perhaps owe anything to future generations in Sheffield as the people alive today.
Great. So you're sort of comparing different countries and different generations, so it's quite complicated.
Yeah, lots. So definitely looking across the different age groups and what people value here in terms of building that society for all ages. And then, what does that mean in countries with very different sort of consumer cultures, family structures and those sorts of things. So yeah, there are a lot of different elements to the project.
Yeah, fantastic. So you mentioned you're looking for volunteers.
Yes, that's right. So at the moment we're looking to interview people of all ages from Sheffield, and we want those interviews to reflect a whole range of views. We're not just looking for environmental experts, for example. So I would encourage anyone interested to get in touch. You have to be 16 or over to take part in our research, but other than that, there are no restrictions on who can take part. And especially, I'm looking to interview families with 3 generations living in or near Sheffield. So, for example, a young person, their parent and grandparent. So if you're listening and part of a 3-generation Sheffield family or near Sheffield, it would be really great to hear from you, because those people are proving quite hard to come by, actually. We've had a few, but we'd like to speak to more.
Yeah, great. So what exactly would volunteers be asked to do?
Sure. Volunteers would be asked to take part in an interview, and that's more often than not with myself. That it would take no more than an hour. The interview is about your consumer habits, views on the environment and views on fairness between generations. It can be arranged at a time and place that's convenient for you, so most people either meet at their homes or a local coffee shop, and the interview is more like a conversation, really.
Great, lovely. So have you done some interviews so far?
Yes, I'm about halfway through doing the interview, so we've had a lot of people come forward, but we want to represent as many people, as wide a range of views as possible for our project. So by the end of the project, we're looking to have interviewed 90 people as well as 15 3-generation families. So as you can see, I need quite a lot of people to come forward to kind of get there. But I've spoken to a whole range of people so far, and it's been really interesting and enjoyable.
Great. And is what people tell you kept confidential?
So I should emphasise that if you do take part, we won't share your personal details with anyone else. So things like quotes from interviews, with your permission, we might use in reports, but that would very much be anonymous and presented as part of the wider findings of the study.
Great. So I think when I think about environmental issues, I think sort of recycling. How can you be sure people are telling you the truth in the interviews?
It's a tricky one, and actually, one thing I found, especially with the first few interviews I did, that people were very keen to, let me know how good they were about things like recycling or on environmental issues, or would be a bit confessional, or try to think of all the ways that they were an environmentally friendly person. And hand on heart, there's plenty of things that I do myself that are not environmentally friendly. So, I mean, some of the questions I ask are things like, okay, we've talked about all of these things you do, but come on, what's the worst thing that you do for the environment? Or and the questions, it's not about kind of judging who is more or less good for the environment or catching people out. It's about thinking, actually, what do we think our responsibilities are individually and collectively as a society to the future? So it's I'm not going to be assessing, are you a good environmental citizen? I'm much more interested in, what are your hopes for the future of Sheffield? What are the values that you think should be a part of that? How can we kind of get there and achieve this community, this society of all ages? Is much more what we're about, I think.
Yeah, it's going to be like a snapshot of this moment, isn't it, of how people actually feel?
Absolutely, that's the idea. For sure. I mean, I would hope by the end of it we have, I don't know exactly what we're going to find out, but I hope we'd have this vision from Sheffield of the Society for All Ages that then we can take to, whether that's the local council, national policy makers, to say, look, these are the things that people, regardless of how old they are, really care about. And these are things that we can work on. So that's the plan anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, I was going to ask you, what happens with all the information when you got it?
Yep, so our project will finish in early 2017, so sort of January, February next year, we should be done. That includes kind of writing up the findings and having gone through all of the things that people have shared with us. We will share those main findings with everyone who's taken part. As I say, I don't know what those findings are going to be yet. I'd hope we'd have this Sheffield vision that we could share with the council and also nationally. We've got organisations like the Intergenerational Foundation on our advisory board. That's national organisations that are very interested to see the results and will help us to get the story of the research out there once we know what that story is.
Brilliant. So you have a workshop coming up in July?
Yes, so on July the 31st, which is a Sunday, we are running a free creative workshop called Write About Time, and that's going to be at the Moore Theatre Delicatessen from 11 a.m. till 5 p.m. with a free lunch at some point to keep everyone going, because that's a full day. So we're inviting people from different generations to come and try their hand at creative writing. And one of the things we're going to be collaborating on that day is a Sheffield time capsule. So we're asking people, if you could save one thing for future generations, what would it be? We're really excited that Sheffield poet Helen Moore has agreed to lead this workshop for us. Helen is an award-winning poet who writes a lot about local people, landscapes and memory. And together we got talking, and we really liked this idea of stories as part of the legacy that we leave to future generations. And we wanted to provide a creative space for people to tell their own stories, not just the story of our research. So like our research, the workshop is open to anyone over 16, but you do need to book in advance.
Right, and is there a charge for attending?
No, it's a completely free workshop, and we can even reimburse things like travel expenses as well as provide free lunch. So we're, very lucky in our funding from the Arts and Humanities Research Council that we're able to put on events like this. As I said, we don't want things like cost to be a barrier to people taking part. So. Yeah,
lovely. Well, it's great to hear about some research going on at Sheffield University. And I was just wondering, what kind of reputation does the university have for this kind of research?
Well, Sheffield is a leading research university, and increasingly I think we're seeing projects like ours which bring academics with different areas of expertise together. I think this sort of interdisciplinary research is the way forward, because it draws on the different strengths that those disciplines can bring. Our project lead is Pro Vice Chancellor at Sheffield, Professor Jill Valentine, who is particularly known for her work in social geography, looking at issues like consumer cultures and living with difference. So pretty solid reputation for this kind of research, I think, and it's something I'm really excited to be a part of.
Yeah, brilliant. So how can people find out more?
I'm glad you asked. So more information about our project and how to take part is on our website, which is www.sheffield.ac.uk/intersection, or one word. My contact details are on the website, and you can contact me directly. We've also, just as of today, got a new Facebook page, which you should be able to find by searching Intersections Sheffield, and we'll be posting the workshop and future events on Facebook as well as through our website. Or if you're not online, you can call me. My work line is 07736 480 924, and I'm Kristina, the Sheffield Research Associate. So lots of channels to choose from.
Yeah, lovely. So particularly looking for families in Sheffield of 3 generations.
Yeah, particularly 3-generation families. We really want to find those and speak to young people, parents and grandparents. But if you're listening and interested and not part of a Sheffield family, I am still doing one-to-one interviews as well with people of all ages. So, don't feel like you can't get in touch if you're not part of a Sheffield family. We're still looking for other people to take part in our research.